The story begins in 1950, in Japan. James Wright, a former British Royal Air Force pilot and war survivor, enters the Ito family dojo, with his shoes still on. To the students, the act is more than disrespect, it is an outright insult. Wright demands to see General Ito, the man who once commanded his prison camp with an iron fist. The students stiffen at his boldness. To them, his intrusion is a direct challenge. They surround Wright, ordering him to leave immediately. When he refuses, the senior student instructs them to throw him out. Wright takes them down in a brutal beating before the older student finally orders the men to stop attacking. Curious, he asks Wright why he is so determined to find General Ito. Before Wright can respond, the story shifts back to the 1940s, during World War II. At that time, James Wright, serving as a wing commander, is shot down over the Philippine Islands. He survives the crash, but his co-pilot is killed. Moments later, Japanese soldiers close in around him. Wright ambushes two soldiers, striking with ruthless precision, but the skirmish quickly draws the rest. Outnumbered, he is overwhelmed and captured. The senior officer considers killing him on the spot but instead decides to take him hostage. Dragged to a Japanese prisoner of war camp, Wright finally comes face to face with its ruthless commander, Lieutenant Colonel Ito. The moment Ito sees him, he recognizes his nationality. Rather than showing mercy, he orders Captain Hiroshi to execute Wright with a samurai sword deep in the forest. Hiza! Wright turns the tables, using Hiroshi's own men and weapons against them. After cutting them down, he makes a desperate escape into the jungle. Just as he begins searching for a way out of enemy territory, he stumbles into a hidden trap and is recaptured. Brought back before Ito, Wright watches as the commander seizes his most valuable belongings and coldly orders the guards to return him to the cell. One junior officer suggests beheading him immediately for killing Hiroshi, but Ito refuses. With chilling calm, he declares Wright already a dead man. He wants him broken first, humiliated in front of everyone before executing him. The camp is a living nightmare. Disease, starvation, and cruelty are the order of the day. Ito often has prisoners beaten for sport, sometimes forcing them to fight one another. The following day, guards hurl Wright into a dirt pit, surrounded by jeering soldiers and terrified captives. A Japanese guard steps forward to humiliate the prisoners. He beats them savagely, knocking each man down with precision. Then Ito commands Wright to fight to the death. At first, Wright hesitates. He's not here to play games, until a rifle is pressed to his head. With one clean strike, Wright drops the Japanese unconscious into the mud. To finish him, Wright unleashes a forbidden empty hand technique that leaves the entire camp in stunned silence. For the first time, the prisoners see someone who can stand against their captors. But victory comes with a price. Ito is both enraged and intrigued. Instead of executing him, Ito makes Wright a spectacle and starves him, trying to break his will. Weeks later, Wright is dragged out again, this time tied to poles and surrounded by armed guards. Wright's body is battered, his spirit nearly broken. Ito uses the moment to humiliate him, but when a guard strikes again, Wright lashes out. With nothing but sheer will, he overpowers the soldiers. Ito, furious at being defied, summons Wright to his office. He tells him he could kill him at any moment, but there's only one reason he hasn't. Ito fears the Allies are closing in. He demands intelligence, warning that when American bombers arrive, they will burn everything to ash, though Wright remains silent. Soon after, Wright devises an escape plan. During a staged commotion, he steals a radio from a guard tower. When a beaten nurse notices, he begs her to keep quiet. That night, Wright tries to signal the Allies, but the device only picks up Japanese and Filipino Tagalog transmissions. Just as he makes his way back, he discovers a plane wreck hidden in the jungle, remnants of his crash. Back at camp, Wright confides in an American prisoner of Filipino descent who can translate Tagalog. Together they plot to send a message, but the perimeter is too heavily guarded. When they kill one soldier, the rest are alerted, forcing them to retreat before the guards conduct roll call. The next day, another prisoner is caught attempting escape. As punishment, Ito throws him into the ring against two fighters. Wright protests, reminding Ito of international rules for prisoners of war. Ito mocks him coldly. In this camp, there are only his rules, and anyone who disobeys pays the price. Enraged, Wright challenges Ito to a duel if he's not a coward. Ito dismisses him and orders his men to drag him away. That night, Wright and his ally finally succeed in sending out a radio signal. But when they return, Japanese soldiers are already waiting. Just as punishment looms, Allied planes roar overhead, unleashing bombs on the camp. Chaos erupts. Prisoners rise in rebellion, storming the barracks in a desperate bid for freedom. Amid the pandemonium, Wright finally confronts Ito in his tent.
Nowhere to run now.
Nobody is running.
Bloodied and exhausted, Wright squares up barehanded. The fight is brutal, but before Wright can end Ito's reign, his friend pulls him away, urging him to escape. Moments later, Allied forces gun down the rest of the Japanese soldiers, rescuing the captives. Wright survives, but the horrors of Ito's camp are etched into his soul forever. The film returns to 1950. Wright stands in the Ito dojo, surrounded by the general's disciples. He did not come for revenge, only closure. The senior student informs him that Ito died 2 years earlier. With nothing left to settle, Wright turns to leave. But the student stops him, handing back Wright's war medals, which Ito once stole. He begs Wright to demonstrate the forbidden empty hand technique, the very move their late master once spoke of. Wright refuses at first, unwilling to pass on a weapon of destruction. But when the student insists, Wright steps forward.
Show me.
His deadly fist stopped an inch from the young man's face. Instead of striking, Wright lowers his hand and helps the student to his feet, a final gesture of martial honor. Without another word, he walks away, leaving behind the ghosts of war. Subscribe for more dramas like this, and don't forget to like this video, it really helps the channel grow.